Hi guys, and welcome to this week's collective reading. It's definitely an interesting time we are currently in, with quite a lot of heightened energies going on all at once. So let's make some sense of what we are dealing with and why we might be feeling the way that we are. So this reading is themed around this energy of integration in its reversed aspect, as well as this message to observe. Now, there is so much in this reading that is speaking to me. So I will try my best to remember to get it all in. Ironically, when a lot comes through, it can be harder to share the message, as the organizing of what's coming through can be overwhelming. But I'm going to do my best, and I'm just going to get into it. Now, I actually want to start with this Osiris energy. Sorry, Orion activation card. So the constellation of Orion in Egypt was seen as Osiris. And I've had Orion coming through strongly, personally, for quite a few weeks now. Probably the entire time this portal energy has been really active. For the record, this eclipse portal energy that we're currently in is actually felt from quite a few weeks before the lunar eclipse at the full moon, and we'll continue to feel it for quite a few weeks after tomorrow's solar eclipse. So it's just this idea that this heightened energy doesn't just go away right after the event, but it's, it builds up slowly and it gains momentum, and after tomorrow's solar eclipse there will be a slow tapering off, right, of the energy that we feel, so it won't just magically go away. Actually, let's backtrack a bit. For those who aren't familiar, tomorrow we have a total solar eclipse in Aries. And what that means is that from our perspective, the moon will come in front of the sun. I don't know why I think that looks like the moon and the sun, but the moon will come in front of the sun and block its rays from shining down on us for a period, right? So our solar energy will be shadowed. And this gives rise to situations or energies, things going on in our life that we may have been ignoring or not even been aware of. These shadows will come out to play in the absence of the sun's light. And yes, of course, the sunlight will come back, right, as the moon continues to shift. But these shadow aspects, right, they will have already been stirred up. So once they're back in the light, we can't just ignore them, right? They've been brought to the surface. And with Mercury in retrograde, because that's also going on right now, working through these shadows, this is not something that we can just expect to sweep back under the rug, right? They will need to be worked through in a nice, slow, methodical way, right? Because Mercury retrograde brings in a more thoughtful and slow energy to our movements, right? And if we try to speed through them, this is when everything starts to go wrong. So I don't mind Mercury retrograde at all. It gets a really bad rap because we live in such a fast-paced, like now society, right? And Mercury retrograde forces us to slow down and put more thought into our actions. And I think that's quite a good thing. So we can absolutely use this period to our advantage, right? So with Orion activation and the start of spring and this heightened energy of this eclipse portal, right? And Mercury retrograde, and right now we're in Aries, this shadow work that's coming up is around knowing who you are, your I am. Because that's what Aries has us work with, our I am. So I just learned recently, and it really resonated with me, that some people believe the Orion constellation, right here, right, was created by Archangel Michael. And when I heard this, it was like a big aha moment of, that makes so much sense to me, right? With Orion being a warrior, right? And Archangel Michael being here to help us work with our relationship to the I am, right? He is shown slaying the dragon or Satan, depending on the depiction, right? And this is representative of our ego, right? And it's not to completely cut down our ego, right? It's rather to bring it into its exalted state by cutting away that which holds our ego down, right? So this time period is about knowing who you are, knowing what's important to you, and being able to stand your ground as a warrior to stay true to yourself, right? So not bending your sense of self to please others or to please your lower urges, but to be this exalted warrior that shows up as your true self. And that is how I am understanding this Orion activation message. That this portal we are in will bring up shadows that have challenged our sense of self and the development of self. And we are being faced with these shadows so that we can work through them and transmute them, right? With the magician down here. So we can clear them from our energy stream. And being in Mercury retrograde and using that to our advantage means that we can slow the process down and really make sure that every aspect of this shadow energy is being removed from our programming. A more relatable way to word this, right, is to build up new habits. Right? What is that? So we're building up new habits that are servicing the person we are moving into, our I am, right? And removing the habits of the person you are wanting to stop being, right? So who you are not. And creating new habits takes time. So this is where Mercury being in retrograde helps us, because things move slower. And the Nine of Swords, perfect in this reading. So often the Nine of Swords is seen as an a negative kind of card to come up, as it represents the worries that keep us up at night, right? These are the things that we habitually worry about. This is our inner state of disharmony. But in this reading, it makes perfect sense, right? As this is what's coming up and being transmuted, right? With the Magician here. I'll speak more about the Magician in a minute. But this particular Nine of Swords, the artwork is like Archangel Michael's sword coming down and piercing the shadow. This is the slaying of the dragon. We are gaining control of our inner sphere and knowing who we are. This is a really strong energy. That being said, we do have resistance with this main card of integration being reversed. So now we're ready to talk about it. And I will get back to this Magician. This poor guy keeps getting pushed off. But this integration card is all about remembering who you are, what lights you up, and then embodying it. Because it's not enough to know who I am, right? Integrating means showing up as this person as well. So this is learning who you are, remembering yourself, and then embodying it, right? And this reversal energy, this can be showing up in a lot of ways. So obviously this is a collective reading. So reflect on how this is showing up for you personally. But this could be you feeling afraid to work with your inner child, right? For a whole variety of reasons. The inner child can be scary just for a lot of reasons. It could be you holding a lot of guilt or shame against yourself, right? Because of past actions and you not wanting to face the consequences of seeing yourself for who you've been and how you've contributed to things. This could be like burying your head in the sand. It could just be because you're afraid of change, fear of change. The important thing to remember is that the reversal really only indicates a resistance to dealing with this energy. But it certainly doesn't mean that you can't or won't. So let's actually let the Magician have its moment to shine now. And the Magician is here as a reminder that you create your reality, right? You are in control of the elements and you have the power to transmute between the earth and the heavens, right? Energy moves through you. And as such, you don't have to hold on to anything, right? Let it go. Let it pass through you. Stop holding on to it. Stop storing this energy in your physical body. You can release it now, right? And we've got this beautiful portal space of the eye, right? Back to this knowing of who I am. And with this depiction, right, the eye is showing up as the birth portal. And it connects straight back to this Orion activation portal card, as this actually reads right at the bottom, rebirthed by light. So after the solar eclipse tomorrow, you know, or if you're watching this in the future, the solar eclipse that may have already happened, depending on when you're watching this, we will come out of the other side with this opportunity to really connect with our sense of self, because this solar eclipse is in the energy of Aries and I am. And we have incredible support to integrate, right, this realization of who I am so that we can embody our I am. And I haven't forgotten this beautiful owl centering the reading, right, with this message of observe. So at the bottom, this reads, loving eyes see all, equanimity, see the truth and step back. So this is our reminder, right? I've saved it for the end on purpose, to go into this energy of observation, right? You don't have to move tides right now. This is the new moon, not the full moon. But we have to step back and observe ourselves, connect with our inner wisdom to bring our truth forward, right? And equanimity, this is the ability to stay calm and composed through difficult situations. And this calm composure is able to be held because we can step back and see things from a higher perspective. We don't need to be reactive right now, because remember, Mercury is in retrograde. So take the time to think things through, right? It's okay to move slow. Just see the truth of who I am and hold that vision. And then you can make movements and create habits that align with that vision. But this is definitely that slow and steady wins the race energy. We've even got the turtle up here, right? And that is this week's reading. I am wishing you all the best. Bye, guys.